Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. It's in the description below. Today, we're discussing a model that's new for 2020, just beginning to arrive as a pre-owned option. This is the Bulgari Octo Finissimo Automatic Satin Polish, rose gold with differential finish and 100 meters of water resistance. This is the 2017 GPHG Men's Watch Prize winner with additional pulchritude and hermeticity. The timepiece is easy to wear. It's still 40 millimeters nominally from side to side. It's now 6.7 millimeters thick, gaining that water resistance, and 46.5 millimeters from lug to lug. Though the lug spacing is highly non-standard, it is a conventional 30 millimeter spacing. So if you go with an aftermarket strap or a Bulgari factory option, 30 millimeters is the size. Throwing it on my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see the watch is handsome, flat, flush, and effectively wears just as thin as its 5.15 millimeter thick predecessor. Again, 6.7 millimeters, it's still lower than my wrist hair, easily slides underneath the cuff. You can see from overhead, I have plenty of wrist clearance on both sides, and down the barrel, again, I have plenty of clearance on both sides, such that I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Taking a look at the strap, it's a handsome piece with a sort of velvety nubuck finish and texture. And unlike the standard watch, which uses a bonded strap to be super thin, this one having a little bit more volume and body to it allows a stitched strap to be used, which allows larger pieces of leather to be used. They're not glued together anymore. You have that large rectangular scale gator in matte black, you have a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and then on the underside you have calfskin, and this is a brand new Bulgari factory strap that's never been crimped or gouged. The watch includes a simple and, as you can see, beautifully preserved red gold pin buckle to match the watch, and then there is the case, which features a combination of polish and satin per the nomenclature of the model. Now, Bulgari claims over 100 facets, and I often like to say it's kind of like the Iron Throne. 2,000 swords, 100 facets, I'm not sure, but the effect is visually impressive. All the more so now that the original media-blasted titanium watch has been superseded by options that include both satin finish and polish. It actually sets the different facets and the conflict of forms apart in a way that they didn't stand out before. And by that, I mean there's an interesting dichotomy here, as you have a combination of rounded forms, such as the crystal and the outer bezel, with geometric forms, such as the rounded polygon plinth that sits underneath the bezel, the hard edges of the lug profiles, and the inner faceted bezel that contrasts nicely with the round bezel and the round crystal. So there's a lot of tension in this watch. There's also a lovely radial sunburst system. You can see that applied by lapping machine, there is a radial sunburst that runs all the way around the circumference of the bezel. It has an imaginary origin point at the center of the dial, and you can see that the dial is impressive. It's a matte black, which nicely matches the strap, but then you also have applique rose gold elements and rose gold hands that pop nicely. It's not always easy to read a black dial watch with polished hands and indices, and this is a wonderful reprieve from that phenomenon, as everything here is legible at a glance. The crown is now a screw-down unit, all of high polish. It features a ceramic cabochon outboard for a lovely contrast, as well as a small measure of scratch resistance. Then we turn the watch over, and you can see the same BVL 138 caliber that was used in the original 2017 Octo Finissimo Automatic. You get a platinum micro rotor, not gold, not tungsten. Remember, even Patek uses a 22 karat gold rotor for its caliber 240 and its micro rotor autos. Not so here. The platinum is both richer and improves the winding efficiency. 55 to 60 hour power reserve. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour through the balance, and it features a full balance bridge both to better brace the balance against shock and to stiffen up the movement and add structural integrity. The movement itself is over 36 millimeters in diameter, but only 2.23 millimeters thick. It was built expressly for this watch. Pivoting on 36 jewels, it's a combination of hand finish and manual finish of the type that we have come to expect from perhaps most prominently FP Journe and Audemars Piguet. So this is on par with that kind of finish, as we have real Côte de Genève, dark on one side, light on the other, laid down by a abrasive wheel. This is not stamped Côte de Genève. You can also see that the anglage is surprisingly bright and mirrored. It is started by mechanical means, but then finished by manual means to create that lovely glossy bevel that we associate with true high horology brands. There's engine turning on the base plate. You can see that there is black polishing of every screw head. And then in terms of the movement itself, it comes from the old Gerald Genta and Daniel Roth manufacture in the Vallée du Jeu that is now Manufacture Blancpain, and in its previous life it was considered a specialist in ultra haute de gamme, ultra thin movements, and that's exactly what we have here. Bulgari making its dials, its cases, its clasps, and its movements, a fully integrated manufacturer. And you know, there is no compromise. Normally when you have a watch this thin, you'll see tricks played, such as the doubling of the case as the base plate of the movement. Not here. The watch has 100-meter water resistance and a conventional movement with a conventional display case back, so there are none of those Piaget or Audemars Piguet tricks played to make the watch thin. Absolutely nothing is compromised, including water resistance and structural integrity. So this is a technically proficient and aesthetically outstanding product, now available pre-owned. This is the Octo Finissimo Automatic Satin Polish.